Where are you?
Nowhere I ever expected. I'm in a boxcar, buried inside a quarry. There are bodies everywhere. Stacked floor to ceiling.
What happened to them?
I don't know.
Mulder, in these files, I found references to experiments that were conducted here in the U.S. by Axis Power scientists who were given amnesty after the war. Some kind of tests on humans, but they're referred to as merchandise.
But these aren't humans, Scully. From the look of it, I'd say they were alien. Wait a sec. This one has a smallpox vaccination scar.
Mulder.
Oh my God, Scully. What have they done?
Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Most Unwanted, an X-Files podcast. I'm Chex, and I'm joined as ever by Luke to talk about the final episode of season 2 of the X-Files.
We're there. We got there.
We are there. It's 2 seasons. 2 seasons, man.
It feels like it's flying by, but then I sort of look at how much is left and I'm like, it's not flying by as much as I thought.
No, and it has been a year, to be fair.
Yeah.
When I look at sort of how quickly I get through shows now, it's crazy that it's taken me a year to get through 2 seasons.
Series, I know, yeah. It's taken some discipline on our behalf, I'd say. But yeah.
It makes me... Don't get me wrong, because it sounds like I'm, I'm not enjoying the X-Files, and that's not the case at all. It does make me realise that I much prefer the shorter season. If I'm honest.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Which is mad, because my favourite show of all time, as I've mentioned so many times, is Lost. And that's 24 episodes a season.
It is, yeah.
So it doesn't make sense, but yeah, I really do enjoy. Like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones just started at the time of recording. It came out last night.
Yeah.
And it's 6 episodes run, and I can't wait. I think that's perfect. You know what I mean?
It's probably the same amount of hours as the normal series anyway, because it's like somewhere like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But it's like, it just feels so more. I don't know. It seems to contain a lot more of the, because we've seen in this in X-Files and in other series that have like long runs.
The filler.
There's some episodes where you're just like, this could have been left out.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you even see guides online where people are like, these are skippable episodes, and it's like,
There shouldn't be a
skippable episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's just the format of the time. It was, because it was, you didn't really have binge-worthy telly, so it was something to put on week in, week out. And unfortunately, you can't tell a grand story that way. You have to have filler to fill out 24 episode seasons. Whereas now, you can tell the story you want to tell in the time that it takes. You don't have to limit yourself.
People are more forgiving now. Like, if you say this series is 6 episodes, do you know what? I think, like, we are sort of okay with a 6-episode series anyway, because British TV tends to just be quite short. I don't think I've ever seen a British TV show that stretches over like.
No, I can't think of one. Even like comedies.
Yeah.
Like you look at The Big Bang Theory in America.
Yeah, it's like 26 episodes a series.
Yeah, with 8 seasons, and like in the UK, it's like all the comedies in the UK are like 6 episodes, if that, and then 3 seasons of it, if that.
I watched all of This Country in a day.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Which is like a new one. I think it was like 2 series, and that was it. It was done.
Yeah.
That was done in no time. But yeah, it's mental.
What's your ideal length for like a drama TV series like X-Files or Game of Thrones or Lost?
I think HBO have it right, where it's sort of like between 10 and 12 episodes. It can be less, like as this series of Game of Thrones is, where it's like between 8 and 6, like the last 2. That's fine. But I think any more than 12, and I start to think, are all these going to be the same caliber, or are we going to have ones where it's like, okay, this week we sort of just do nothing?
Yeah.
I hate it when you watch an episode and you just think, that wasn't necessary, because usually it's 30 to 45 minutes of TV, and it's like, if it's unnecessary, you just think, well, that was a waste of an hour, basically.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it can feel like that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I also don't want it too short. Like, 6 episodes is fine in most episodes, and I'm really looking forward to this Game of Thrones. But sometimes I'll put on a new TV show that everyone's raved about, and I will love the first episode, and I'll say, how many episodes have I got left of that? And I'll see 5 more episodes, like, oh, I really want a lot more of that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit gutted that...
It depends really on what you're watching as well. Sometimes, like sometimes like sitcoms and stuff, you don't mind running a bit longer because usually the 30-minute episodes. Like that. That's not too bad. But yeah, I think if it was like 26-hour-long episodes, I'd be like, this better be really, really good.
Yeah.
And luckily, I do know that the later new series of the X-Files are like 6 episodes each.
Oh, are they? They go back to that format?
Towards
go back to like they ever went. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, because I was just having a look at on Wikipedia on like the amount of episodes, just because I wanted to know how many we sort of had ahead of us.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like 24, 25, like for most series, and then about series 10, I think, or something like that. It goes to 6 episodes each.
Oh, okay. So we are, I would say, roughly about 20% of the way through.
Probably, yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, 20. Yeah, that sounds about right, 20%.
Maybe give or take a few percent.
Yeah. Write in, listeners, on our break, we need to find out how far away from the end we are. I think we did work out once, like we had every week an episode uninterrupted. I think we figured out that it would be 2022 or something like that.
I think it's 2023.
2023. Which will definitely be that after the results of the poll that we did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We had a look at that. So this is probably a bit early to jump into that before. We might as well talk about that now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think that it was quite in favour of sticking to weekly.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it to that then.
We do what the people want.
Do what the people want. So,
well,
we won't be finishing in 2026.
No, 2023, and I will be 31.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's depressing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on to pressing matters.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about Game of Thrones. What did you think of the first episode of Game of Thrones? Without spoilers, I want to put this quite clearly. I do not want, because I've watched it, you've watched it, but I would hate if anyone spoils it for me.
And I'm not going to do any fake spoilers.
No little jokes.
People go, oh, everyone died, which, to be fair, in this series could be very true.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm not going to do any of that. I liked it.
Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. I saw a lot of people complaining that it was a bit slow and a bit there wasn't a lot happen, but I just felt like this is the setup episode because the next 5 episodes are going to be non-stop action and like drama. So I thought it was a nice calm before the storm.
I completely agree. I loved it. I did.
Because I don't even know. Usually it's episode 9, isn't it? Has a big action sequence.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to get 2 or 3 of those. I think
it could be. I think it could be the next 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
So, yeah.
But jokes aside, let's get on to what we are really here to talk about. Yeah. The final episode of the X-Files. Just to let everyone know, we might as well get this out the way as well. We'll be doing our post-season content after this episode as well. So the next couple of episodes of Most Unwanted will be stuff like season review, predictions for next season, our favourite episodes list. Everything that you heard after season 1, we'll be doing that again, and we'll sort of see how we've changed and our opinions on different things. So yeah, look forward to that. But for now, let's get on with the show. So like I said earlier, this is episode 25 of season 2, and the finale. Directed by R.W. Goodwin. The story was written by Chris Carter and our very own David Duchovny.
Very own.
And it originally aired on May 19th, 1995. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether I mentioned the title. I don't think I did. The titled Anasazi. So let's get straight into the episode. We start off at a Navajo reservation in New Mexico.
Do reservations still exist? Are they still a thing to this day and age? I would imagine so, because that's only the 90s.
This is the thing with, and I don't know, I'm going to complain about people being ignorant here.
Yeah.
and I may be being ignorant myself, so it's one of those things. But
put a klaxon over this just in case. Problematic corner.
Especially with sort of Native Americans, the way they're depicted in media. I'm sure there's some tribes out there, but the problem I have is every time you see a Native American on TV or in films or a game, they're always depicted like this, like the sort of and I'm going to do air quotes, by the way, so the people that, the savage, do you know what I mean? Or the noble savage. And that tends to be the way Native Americans depicted, and it's just not the case in the majority of circumstances. And this episode's the same, where it feels a little bit stereotypical. It has its issues and that, but I know it's not the right way to deal with things, but you just gotta let it pass you by, I suppose. It's not ideal.
And again, it's in a 90s thing that's still...
But I mean, look at... I watch NFL quite a bit, and my favourite team is the Washington Redskins. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And I think it's, especially with Native Americans, it's not right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But it's so ingrained in culture that it's almost become acceptable.
I was going to say that, there's sort of an acceptance. Even though it's not acceptable, there is an acceptance.
Can you imagine if they was called Washington Blackskins?
Yeah, exactly.
Depicting a black man on the badge. Yeah. That would not be okay. Yeah. Or, like, I could have used a lot worse words, but Redskins to a Native American...
It's a slur, isn't it?
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. I did hear a story, and I don't know how valid this story is, so this could be completely bull. But I heard about Redskins, the origin of the name Redskins, and why it's offensive. And please don't quote me, this could be bullshit. But I heard it was an insult within Native American communities, and it means it's basically an analogy for an apple. And the idea being, you've turned your back on your community. You're a redskin because you're red on the outside, white on the in. Okay. I think, I don't know how true that is, but I mean, it sounds like horrendous, to be called that by your own community. So I don't know, but we digress. We get over that for this episode. Yeah. It is what it is. As I say, I'm sure there are sort of tribes out there that still live the way they live, like sort of in Australia. You've still got like sort of Aboriginal tribes and stuff like that.
There's a similar sort of thing in Australia for that with Aboriginal tribes and stuff. They're sort of like looked down on and stuff, and it's not right. But I don't know why it's just a thing that happens. Why is it
more okay for some races than others? It shouldn't be, should it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
but we haven't got enough time in this episode to write the wrongs.
Yeah, we're running short on time, so we're going to bypass the morally right thing to do, apparently. Oh god.
Look, that sounded bad out of context.
Yeah, it did. We're one sentence in to my rundown of this episode.
Okay, exactly. That's why. Sorry, but
so we'll get going. We see a teenager, and he's woken up by what appears to be an earthquake. And the next morning, he goes out for a ride on his bike. I assume this was his grandfather. I think it turns out... Is it his grandfather?
I think it is, yeah.
Oh, okay. I think it's his grandfather. And he does say to him... Basically, he warns him not... He says, don't play with the snakes.
And he's very cryptic, isn't he?
Yeah, the earth has secrets it needs to tell. And I feel like this is a bit of a stereotype, do you know what I mean? Of like... the cryptic languages and the metaphors. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe... I don't know. I just can't see it.
If you are a Native American listening, let us know, how accurate is this to your life?
That sounds like a really offensive question.
Yeah. I'm trying to be inclusive.
I know you're trying to be nice there. Yeah, and I think you are being nice. It just doesn't sound it.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? It's because... as a British person,
it's alien to us.
We are never ever in our life. Well, maybe not never ever, but we're very unlikely to meet a Native American. So it's just alien to us. Alien, I guess. Yeah. Like the X-Files.
Should we get back onto the X-Files?
Yeah.
Let's get you out of this hole.
I don't want to be in this hole.
So, anyway, this boy goes on his bike and he comes across this sort of small patch in the desert of like what looks like a metal object buried in the ground. So he goes over and he he opens it up, he retrieves something from within it. We don't know exactly what.
Did you say it looked like a train?
No, I didn't. I don't think it did look like a train.
I put looks like a train at the beginning.
Oh, fair enough. I thought it was like a spaceship.
I didn't know what it was, and I was like, because it had the ridges on it, I thought, it looks like a carriage, like a train carriage.
Oh, it's smart, Ash. Yeah, we get it. You know what you're talking about.
Spent a lot of time on trains, and then my way around a train.
This thing looked like a spaceship.
Yeah.
He opens it up and he retrieves something and he brings it home to his family. Mm-hmm. And his grandfather takes one look at it and states, in his native tongue, that it should be put back as they will be coming to collect it. Mm. And the camera pans out to show the corpse of an alien.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
big start.
We know where we go. Yeah, very similar to the Elamaya flask.
Yeah.
Where we know we're dealing with actual physical aliens in this episode, as far as this intro goes.
Every time you say that, I just imagine Ghostbusters.
Actual physical contact.
Yeah, exactly.
Ghostbusters is such a great film. Like, it's so good, isn't it? The first one especially. I mean, the second one's great.
Second one's good.
The first one especially, though, is just phenomenal.
It's timeless.
It really is.
Anyway.
So,
our mini review there.
Our mini review of Ghostbusters.
We've put that in the box.
Should we just throw some film reviews? I'd love to review films. Should we just? We've got a lot on, to be fair, but we've got like 8 seasons left.
Okay.
But I do want to throw a few.
What do you mean, like actual episode? Like
yeah, an episode of like.
I thought you meant in this show.
No,
like, we just start talking about random films again. And yeah, Terminator 2, by the way, was an outstanding masterpiece of action filming.
Well, yeah, you're right. Let's stick to X-Files for now.
Yeah. But we could do it.
We go to the intro. Did you notice anything about this intro?
I did.
You did?
I did. Do you know why? Right, this is going to be some Luke logic.
Yeah.
Behind. I'm not going to put another segment there because I feel like too many. I was like, this is a big episode. I reckon if they do have any of like open credit things, it's going to be in this one because I've noticed.
It wasn't in the Aluminium Flask.
No. But so it was worth checking. So I did the usual thing: skip intro, and then I rewound it 10 seconds, and then I saw it, and I was
Well, I'm glad because I skipped it completely. I didn't, but I skipped it completely. So can you tell us what it says at the end?
I have no idea what it actually says. I just knew that it was Navajo. I'm guessing it says the truth is out there in Navajo.
Yeah, I think that's the suggestion. But could you try and say it the way it was meant to be said?
I have no idea how to pronounce the letters.
Please?
No, because this is going to get even more problematic. I've already got to walk myself out of this hole. I can't do any more. Okay. Have you got it? Have you got the actual words?
I've got the words.
Oh, I'll give it a go. If you've got the words. El Anigu Ahute. I guess.
I would say that's pretty spot on. But there were so many accents that I have no idea how to pronounce each letter. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a language that, like, because it's not even similar to like English, it's just hard for us.
It's like looking at Mandarin, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just difficult to sort of pick apart.
So we jump now to Dover, Delaware, and a man who I'll say right now we later find out to be Kenneth Sooner, but
AKA
the Thinker.
The Thinker.
Yeah. We know he's a member of the Lone Gunman. He's been mentioned in previous episodes. He hacks into a Department of Defense files and seems pretty surprised by this. He downloads what we find out to be government secrets onto a cassette tape.
He's basically Julian Assange, isn't he?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And he
prototype.
All within like seconds, and like he's just got it all. Yeah. And he does actually. I love the fact that they make it look so easy on here. And I was like, it's one of those. They actually bring it up later in the episode of why it's that easy.
Yeah,
because he does say that I didn't protect myself at all because I didn't really think I could do it, and I just did it.
Which makes me think: did they lessen the security on purpose, or was there some reason to let this information out?
Maybe. I mean,
maybe to draw like Mulder and Scully out, or to do something like.
They seem pretty keen on them not finding out anything, though.
But we do know there's 2 factions, so maybe one.
Good point, and it could be or it could be an X. You know what I mean? It could be anyone.
Yeah, true.
So he downloads this onto like this cassette tape, and we see the news being reported between what I assume to be government higher ups all around the world, all basically panicked at mentioning the MJ file quite a bit.
Yeah.
They really don't want people to find out about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that Neverland documentary. It's surprising we even got it. I suppose.
Yeah, they're keeping that on the down low.
I like how as soon as I saw MJ, I was like, probably not the best time to make a Michael Jackson joke, is it, these days? But I'm gonna anyway.
Yeah, we got to go for it.
Yeah.
If it's teed up, you got to hit it, don't you?
Unfortunately, yeah.
One of these government higher-ups then phones the cigarette-smoking man, who goes on to tell everyone that's concerned that he's already taken care of the matter.
He speaks fluent German, is one thing we find out as well. It's German he's speaking, isn't he?
No, he speaks English.
There's a cigarette-smoking man.
Yeah.
In one scene, he's talking to somebody in German as well.
No, he's not.
He is in the version I watched.
No, he's not.
I'm sure he is.
Did you just see another smoking man?
No, he starts speaking to somebody in German, puts the phone down, and then he says something.
No, that's other different people from around the world.
Oh, right, okay. I've jumped ahead to the cigarette smoking man.
Yeah, but he speaks only in English.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't. He's a part where...
Are we going to... I'll pause this documentary right now. Documentary. I will pause this podcast right now.
We can watch it, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see you in a little bit, guys. I'd like to apologise to you and all of our listeners. I was wrong. I made a mistake. He does speak German.
It's very it's big of you.
Thank you.
To admit.
Thank you. I would say I'm the bigger man in this situation.
No.
So,
anyway,
the cigarette smoking man speaks in fluent German, and he tells everyone that matters has been taken care of.
Mm-hmm. How big is this conspiracy? That there's like the
around
UN
the
basically,
world. Yeah. That's what I thought, and it really does sort of set up how big a scope this is going to be.
Yeah.
We do see a sort of a really quick clip of a SWAT team raid Sooner's house, and then in Washington DC.
Sorry, I wrote a note that just said Jurassic Park, and I was like, what was that for? And I expect what I was thinking.
Oh, the computer.
The computer. I was expecting it to that sort of have that kind of you got tricked, like kind of thing. But
Yeah.
No,
Nothing like that.
Sorry, I was really confused by my notes, and I was like, what the hell does that mean?
Don't they do something like that in Speed? Where like they're set up to go to a house, and then they go to the house and they realise it's a bomb.
I don't know. I haven't watched all of Speed.
What?
I've watched all of Speed 2.
Oh, what are you doing?
I don't know why. Willem Dafoe was in it, and it's just hilarious to watch Willem Dafoe.
Speed 1's a great film.
Yeah, I know it's a good film. It's just one that I've just never got around to.
Sandra Bullock in her prime. She was fantastic in that film.
Talking of film reviews.
See how many film reviews we can get. Little mini film reviews.
Yeah, we keep crossing them off.
Yeah.
Count them, guys.
Count them. Count them 2. So in Washington, D.C., the lone gunmen meet with Mulder at his apartment. They seem pretty paranoid. They even go so far to say that they may be being followed by a Black Ops unit, codenamed Garnet. So they tell him what had happened, and basically that the Thinker has requested to meet with them. All of a sudden, a gunshot can be heard, and Mulder sort of rushes down the hall, tries to find what's going on. And an onlooker tells them that the woman just went crazy in one of the apartments and shot her husband. And the woman just seems devastated. She's like properly upset, but from what we can tell, she just shot her husband. And the lone gunmen just sort of look on, and as Mulder goes back to them.
They mention there's a bit of weirdness going on around this case.
Yeah.
Which I sort of kept drawing back to that later on as like stuff started happening, which we find out later on with Mulder. We'll leave that mystery for a bit, but yeah, that weirdness seems to keep getting brought up.
Yeah, I think Mulder, the whole Mulder storyline was good in this because it was just the right amount where I didn't clock on until halfway through, and then I sort of figured, and even then I was like, Mulder's acting really strange, and I even put into my notes later on, Mulder's acting really out of character, and I wasn't a fan of it because I thought Mulder would never have done this.
Yeah,
and then I sort of figured out, maybe that's part of the story, and then I figure it out, and I was like, I like the way they did that because it put you in Scully's position.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we'll get to that. Later that day, Mulder heads to the meeting place with the Thinker at the Botanic Gardens. I should have said that he's specifically requested to meet Mulder, the Think has.
Yeah.
So yeah, he meets with him, and he seems very paranoid, as you would be. He tells Mulder he has the Defense Department records on all UFO activity. And that's what he's downloaded.
It's a hell of a thing to carry in your pocket, isn't it?
It certainly is, on a cassette tape of all things.
Do you reckon he'd get it all on a cassette tape?
Well, he did.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's only documents, isn't it? It's not,
suppose,
it's not like videos
That's
and stuff
true,
like that. Like a HD video. Like
Brings an entire, 50 tapes.
like however many million floppy disks.
What a time.
He mentions he's worried that they're after him now. And he this is where he says he didn't take any precautions. They definitely know it's him because he didn't try and hide himself. He didn't actually think he'd be able to get in.
Yeah. That's what makes me think that there's something more to it, that they've maybe let him, because it feels out of character.
Very strange that he got in so easy.
Yeah.
But maybe he just didn't know how skillful he was.
But we'll see, I suppose.
Yeah. And Mulder asks what the Thinker wants. And he simply replies the truth and the promise that those rat bastards answer to the people.
Very much kindred spirits, I think.
Yeah. I like the... I do like the sort of connection between these two. But again, like, Mulder's as paranoid as this guy is, but just not for the same reasons. You know what I mean? It's like... But it's what we said, wasn't it? Like, the hyper exaggerated personality traits on the Lone Gunman are very similar to Mulder.
Exactly, yeah.
We jump now to the FBI headquarters, and Mulder attempts to listen to the tape as Scully interrupts. I assumed he was listening because I saw a cassette tape and I thought that can only be music. Obviously not, no, but back in the day it used to be used for... they didn't have USB drives there. They didn't They didn't have CDs. So
Back in the day.
What
a time.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. So he calls Scully in, tells her to lock the door. Again, this is where you sort of start to pick up on this sort of hyper paranoia, but it's coming to expect it because he's handling. And he explains that he found the Holy Grail, he calls it, and proof that the government have known about aliens for more than 50 years. But he's saying all this just as he realises the document basically seems to be in gibberish. It's just an unknown language.
And he flips, doesn't he?
Yeah, it goes crazy. He starts throwing things up against the wall. Proper getting angry. And this is really where it's like, this isn't Mulder. This is where I put down, this is not Mulder.
I put the same. Could this be the weirdness? But I didn't know what the weirdness was.
See, I didn't even pick up on the weirdness comment. I just, I honestly thought this is where I was going to sort of lay into the episode a little bit. So I was just like, Mulder wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it was very out of character.
Or at least not. Yeah, at least not for that purpose. Like, if it got too far, then yes, but not for something like that.
That's the only reason. I knew there was something else to it, but I didn't know what. I thought, to be honest, it was some kind of alien. Again, it can get a bit wacky with XR. I thought it was some kind of alien interference or something. It was messing with him, but
just messing with personality traits.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's much more simple.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah.
Well, Scully calms him down, basically telling him she thinks it's encrypted using Navajo. She says her grandfather used to use it in World War II, and it was the only code the Japanese couldn't crack. But the problem with it is only a handful of people know how to decipher it. So Mulder asks her, again, not even courteous about it, he asks her to find someone and storms out despite Scully asking if he's okay.
Yeah.
And he basically just says he's tired and just storms out.
Whenever somebody says they're tired, they ain't tired.
No.
Someone else. There's always someone else.
No one's ever tired. Yeah. Tiredness doesn't exist.
Well,
I'm feeling pretty tired right now, to be honest.
Me too.
Are we depressed? Is that what's going on? Is that what I was insinuating? Or angry?
I just mowed the lawn.
Now on to my favourite scene of the episode.
I have one comment for this scene, all in caps.
Okay. Skinner is leaving his office. Mulder catches up with him, and Skinner goes on to question what he might know about sensitive files that have been leaked. Mulder denies all knowledge. He goes to walk away, and Skinner sort of just grabs his arm, pulls him back. Mulder just starts punching him in the face.
Yeah, he belts him on, doesn't he?
Proper goes for him until badass Skinner just gets him straight into the chokehold.
Yeah.
Oh, Mulder, you picked the wrong badass to fight.
I reckon he's got some kind of MMA sort of
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I don't know if MMA was a thing back then, but I just imagine he's got some kind of like judo.
It's like military training, isn't it? You can tell.
Straight in the headlock.
What a guy Skinner is.
Yeah.
Honest to God, he just so cool. Yeah, so he puts him in a chokehold, and he doesn't go too far. He says, "You walk away from this now.
Yeah.
Walk away. Let's go." And Mulder just walks away.
That's the tough guy routine. Somebody who knows that they could kick the living shit out of you.
chooses not
chooses to basically let you go away and just think about what you're doing
Yeah.
before they do that.
He embarrasses him.
Basically.
He embarrassed Mulder and sent him on his way with a smacked arse.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's what a good dad does.
That's what a good dad does.
That's what Skinner is. He's just a very good dad.
Yeah, he's a good dad.
Good dad.
Yeah, cool dad.
Cool dad Skinner. But also tough dad.
He's not
Keep
the
pushing.
only cool dad we meet in this episode. More on that later. Later that day, Scully enters Skinner's office, and we can see the damage that Mulder's done to Skinner's face. He's got a bruised cheek. I think Mulder's pride has been damaged a lot more, though.
Yeah, he's practicing the hell of
Mulder's
a beat.
crying in a corner somewhere in front of all my friends. I mean, it's got to be humiliating, hasn't it?
Imagine. To be fair, it's Mulder, so
He did attack him first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's justified in his actions.
Skinner was well within his rights to do what he did.
But I think Mulder could probably get away with it because everybody in the FBI sort of thinks he's a bit of a weirdo anyway.
Yeah.
So he's probably just like,
Everyone saw that fight, and then the other FBI was, that was a bit spooky, wasn't it? Typical spooky Mulder.
spooky fighty Mulder.
They changed his name to Fighty Mulder.
Fighty, yeah.
Fights like a fox. Oh, God. So, yeah, Scully's called into Skinner's office, and the board members are all there waiting for her, and they discuss the incident, and Scully tells them she doesn't know why he would have done that. He showed no indications of any increased stress. They start questioning her loyalty to him at this point, basically, and they mention that he was put on this to keep tabs on him, not to become his partner. And they keep bringing up the reports in this episode as well.
Yeah.
And Scully does confirm that she's been sending reports constantly throughout.
So I'd forgotten. Obviously, you hear her do these reports, but you forget that she's there to basically debunk everything that.
Well,
they're
you
doing.
think the reports are just the paperwork at the end of a mission, but it's not. The reports that she's writing are for Cigarette Smoking Man and Skinner and everyone that wants them.
I also like here where they sort of mention how long they've sort of been doing this now.
Yes, what was it, 1.5 years?
Yeah, a year and a half. Yeah, so we know that these two series have basically spanned a year and a half.
Yeah, I think the idea is every season is like a year, represents a year in their life.
Yeah.
They do tell her that if they find he's done anything, her refusal to cooperate could result in her dismissal without any sort of appeal process afterwards. At this point, Scully's had enough and she just excuses herself from the office.
So she's putting her neck on the line, just even sticking up for him at this point. So.
Yeah. We jump now to Martha's vineyard, should I say?
Vineyard, yeah.
I did the classic mistake of speaking it as it was wrote. Martha's vineyard. Mulder opens the door.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Mulder's back. And where's Mumda?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Do they live together? Mulder and
No,
Mumda?
they don't. They don't live together.
No, they split up.
It's
they
implied,
are, aren't
It's
they?
implied that they came together when Samantha turned back up.
Good point, yeah. So,
when was the first time we met Mulder? It was with Samantha, wasn't it?
I think that was the first time, yeah. Same as Mumda.
Wow, that's a I've only just realised how short of a time that it feels like we've known him for longer.
I feel like I've known him all my life because of how I know that he's not a man that likes hugs.
Yeah, definitely not.
But let's get into this, shall we?
Yeah.
Mulder opens the door and Cigarette Smoking Man greets him.
Yeah.
And greets him like an old friend. How you doing, Bill? Blah, blah, blah.
How you doing, Bill? Yeah, it's... How do they know each other? How do they know each other is the
What sort of conspiracy is this? That's what I want to know right now. I was intrigued by this because I was like, oh, worlds collide. They shouldn't have anything to do with each other.
They shouldn't know about each other, so what is going on here?
And then they start discussing the leak of information. And Cigarette Smoker Man tells Mulder that the man who stole them has come forward, which is how they know Mulder has the files. So I don't know whether they think ratted Mulder out. It doesn't seem right to me, but
no,
they did mention it here.
I'm not sure.
He does mention that the files also incriminate Mulder as well. And he worries that Mulder says, is Mulder safe? To which Cigarette Smoking Man tells him that he has protected them this long, why would he start doing anything different? Cigarette Smoking Man has protected Mulder.
Is he... This completely threw me off, because it's like, wait, is Cigarette Smoking Man on Mulder's side? Like, I don't think, like...
He's definitely sent someone to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he sent Krychek to kill him.
But, yeah, I don't know what's going on there, because, like... Or maybe Krychek's gone rogue, or something. What's happening?
I don't know.
But the lines are so blurred.
Or maybe he's lying to Mulder.
Maybe, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The lines are so blurred on who's side. Like, the only person you can trust in now is Mulder and Scully. They're the only two that you know are...
Well, even... I mean, at this point in the episode, even Mulder's acting strange.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know what I mean? It's only Scully that's the rock.
Yeah.
We end with Cigarette Smoking Man advising that should he learn of Bill's involvement, he strongly encourages him to deny everything. Mulder's apartment. Scully enters, scares a sleeping Mulder, who almost shoots her there and then.
Yeah.
He tells her that he's not been in because he's running a fever, and he jokes maybe it's the threat of being burned at the stake. Scully tells him about the meeting, and she's basically stresses how she's been implicated, and asks if this cassette is worth risking everything as well as her career.
It's really putting this, like, pursuit for truth.
Yeah.
Like, it's really straining
What's the cost of that pursuit?
Yeah, exactly.
Mulder gets angry again and asks her to concentrate on finding someone to break the code rather than just questioning him all the time. And Scully fights back. She says she's meeting with someone but just wants some insurance that she's doing the right thing here.
Yeah.
And Mulder tells her he's about to find out and places an X on the window.
Yeah, which, again, was another, like, mind blower, because it's like, he said to him, this is the last meeting we're ever going to have, and now he's calling.
As soon as he wants something,
comes crawling straight back.
Crawling back. We don't see X. X certainly didn't give it to Mulder in this episode.
He didn't, no.
No. But before leaving, Scully asks, quite simply, why did you attack Skinner? Mulder says, I've been thinking about it, and I just don't know. He just doesn't know why he did it. Stress and the pressure of what he's got in his possession, he doesn't know.
No. I really like this scene, just because of the interaction between Mulder and Scully. As again, it really places the burden of this truth on their relationship, and it makes for good sort of interaction between the two.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I think you've hit the nail on the head, to be honest, because this whole episode is like a symbol for... So they've got the truth, or at least the means to find the truth, because they can't read it yet, in their possession, finally. And this, you're right, this whole episode does sort of revolve around what's the cost of having that, and what does that mean for everyone else, you know what I mean? I've never thought of it like that, but yeah, you are right. That is like a sort of theme throughout the episode. Yeah. So we jump now to the office of the Navajo Nation, it's called, sorry. By the way, this episode does move really quick. A lot of scene jumps. Yeah. Like, at one moment, Scully's there, then she's gone across country to this place, and then the next scene she's back. So it's very fast-paced. She meets with an expert who can only recognise some key words, such as goods or merchandise, and vaccinations.
Yeah. Which she notes because they're quite modern words. That's why it sort of struck her. Yeah,
she can they stand out on the page. Yeah. And she does refer Scully to a code breaker who will help her further.
As soon as I said vaccination, I could kind of see...
Well, it's come back around now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
What's your opinion on the whole vaccination dilemma? Because it's not really a British thing, is it? It's more of an American thing, the whole...
Oh, I didn't know we were talking about that then.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just talking about, like, the interest that this vaccination thing pops up, and there's the whole debate going on in America right now. It's not a British thing at all, is it?
No. Why wouldn't you want to be vaccinated?
Honestly. I mean, did you see the school in New York that, I think it was, measles broke out?
No, I didn't hear about it.
So, the school in New York, measles broke out, 33 children... got measles. funnily enough, must be by coincidence, it was all the children that hadn't been vaccinated for measles.
Strange.
Very strange. So the school had to take precautions and quarantined every child that hadn't been vaccinated. Why is that not clear cut? Oh yeah, maybe we should vaccinate our children.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I feel like somebody made an offhand comment that it could have implications on, like, it could lead to, like, autism and stuff like that, and it's like, somebody's taken that too far. It's the flat Earth kind of thing again. Somebody hears the, like, a stupid, like, theory, and then they go, "Oh, it might be right," and then from there, it's like just.
I feel like
snowballs.
it's wanting to support a wild theory rather than actually supporting a wild theory. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing is with flat Earth, ultimately, it's harmless. With anti-vaccine,
You're putting other people at risk.
You're risking smallpox coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, stop it. You're gonna. This is how a zombie film starts.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That'd be a really great idea for a film.
An anti-vaxxer colony, just sort of.
But like a sort of zombie virus.
Yeah.
But it reacts to a vaccination that we've already got, and so it's only the anti-vax
who survive.
people. No, they don't survive. They're the ones that turn into zombies.
That would be a terrible message. You're fueling the fire. I don't know. You hear about these crazy theories, and you just think, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes it's just like crazy, like when people believe that like lizards are in the White House and stuff like that. Like, yeah, kooky, cool. But yeah, when it's something like this where it's genuinely dangerous, it's like, just stop it. Stop being a dick.
Yeah, I completely agree.
The worst is when you hear a celebrity do it. Like, what was her name? Is it Dita Von Teese? Is like saying like, oh, people should think more about like vaccinations. It's like, don't start, because then you legitimise it.
I prefer to listen to a doctor's opinion if I'm honest on stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not being like flippant, but like everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course. But just why not listen to the doctor's opinions rather than yourselves?
I think some people just think that the world's out to get them, and it's like, not all the time.
No, exactly.
Like, I don't know.
So yeah, after this, we jump to Mulder's apartment. Mulder calls up and asks him to meet up with him, says it's very important. And Mulder agrees. He sort of gives a sort of knowing glance to the phone, knowing that X should be coming, but he does agree. And after he's left, Scully visits the apartment, and obviously he's gone. She finds that no one's there. And a gunshot is fired through the window, quite ironically through the X that Mulder left.
X marks the spot.
Yeah.
Where you get shot.
And he shoots Scully in the head.
It does hit her in the head.
In the head.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it grazes the side of her head. This could have been it.
Yeah.
Like, she just got shot in the head.
I feel like if I ever got grazed by a bullet on my head, I'd just be like, I'm never leaving the house again.
Oh, you know what? I'd be the complete opposite. I'd be jumping off buildings and stuff like that. I'd be like, I am unstoppable. You've heard my theory, haven't you?
No. Well, I might have, but go in.
I had this theory coming up through school. My theory is that I'm invincible.
Right. Okay.
I'm invincible.
Yeah, all right. Do you reckon you could stop a train if you were pushed off a bridge in front of it?
All I'm going to say to you is, every day of my life is proof that I cannot die.
Okay.
You cannot prove to me that I cannot die.
Listeners, if you want to... I'm not calling there for it.
But it's a great way to live your life, because you know what? If I do eventually die and I'm getting proven wrong, I don't care. I'm dead. Yeah. But while I'm living, how do you know I'm not invincible? You can't prove that.
That's true.
You can't.
I mean, I could prove it, but I don't want to go to jail.
Exactly.
There's too much risk. There's part of me that thinks it would be I'd be very smug in the hospital.
Think of the contents. Yeah. Think of the podcast contents. You just stab me right here.
It's tempting.
Next week, turns out he wasn't.
He wasn't. Yeah. He was not invincible. Luckily, I'm finishing this episode off via my final call from... They've given me one call. And I said, start up the mics.
This is a collect service charge from Luke Costin.
But yeah, I guess you are invincible. I had a theory like this a while back, and it was not the invincible theory, but they were talking about like what happens after you die, and the person said, "I don't care. In my head, when I die, the universe dies with me because I have no consciousness of what's happening.
Yeah.
So me dying is basically like everything dying, so it doesn't matter." I was like, that's quite a liberating thing to think.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say, so this is going to get deep a little bit now. I kind of get what he means, but I take it one step further. I've always said, this whole sort of end of the world thing, people are worried about and whatnot. So say like a solar flare just wipes out the Earth. That doesn't bother me in the slightest, because everyone's coming with me. There's nothing else left. Why would I want to survive that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think what bothers me is dying and knowing everything carries on without me. You know what I mean?
I think that's the worst thing. That you're missing. I think it's the
you're
missing out.
Life. Yeah, you're missing out. Yeah. Basically, death is curling up in bed, texting your friends, asking if they're doing anything. They all say no. Then you go to bed and look on Facebook and they're all at the pub. Yeah. That's what death is. Yeah. It's basically the same.
It's basically. It is. That's what I'm like. I always like sit, whenever I'm thinking of it, I'm like, oh shit. Like, imagine if, I don't know. Yeah? Like, what if, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like an example.
I don't know whether, I think I spoke about this on the pod, I'm pretty sure I spoke about this on the podcast a couple of weeks back. But I always go to, what if I die before the last episode of Game of Thrones?
I always think this, like...
What if I die? What if I...
Or Avengers or something. It's really stupid, because ultimately, that doesn't
It
matter.
makes no difference, but I always think of it. Whenever there's a long wait for something else, I'm always like, what if I don't make it? And think of this. There's going to be a series where we get halfway through.
Yeah.
That's soul destroying.
That's one of those things. Do you know people have like irrational fears? I think that's where my fear comes from. That I'd leave something unfinished, and ultimately you will in life. Yeah, this is the saddest thing.
But most people, when they say leave something unfinished, it's like raising a child or something like that. Ours is, I hope I get to see Breaking Bad. And there are thousands, nay, millions of people who loved Breaking Bad and didn't see the finale of it.
I read a story today. I was on Twitter, and it was a guy who was talking about. He's a screenwriter for some TV show, but anyway, him and his friend, and apparently his friend's quite bombastic person. Like he's quite loud and outgoing. Went to see Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah,
and while they were there, they noticed George R.R. Martin was there, like also in the queue.
Oh, okay.
And the one guy's shy, didn't want to say anything, but sort of noted it to his friend. And his friend, who's a massive Game of Thrones fan, was like, "We need to speak to him. We need to talk to him." And like did it. They spoke to him, and he said, "Oh, you should come out for pizza later." And they thought he was joking.
Yeah.
They actually went out for pizza, and they were talking about Game of Thrones all this time. Apparently, that guy was a massive Game of Thrones fan, but got like stage 4 lung cancer like halfway through season 4, and it's like, man, that guy didn't even get halfway. It's like, again, there's bigger things in life obviously than missing Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
but that is what death is just leaving something unfinished. Like, and it as silly as something as silly as
it's a good symbolism for it, isn't it?
Yeah, you're like, oh man, they never got to see the end of the story, but that's life in so many ways. You don't get to see the end of the story.
This is so depressing.
Well, we're leading up to something that we can relate it back to. So,
yeah, I mean, oh my god.
Yeah, sorry.
What if we don't finish the X-Files?
I think about this a lot.
I know. You have got like
I have a problem.
You've got like this weird. You think about death quite a bit.
What's it called now? Thanatophobia.
Yeah. Is that the fear of death?
The fear of death.
Yeah. See, it doesn't bother me that much. I like. Obviously, you can think about it too much.
Do you know what the worst thing about this is? Other fears, like I know other people have fears like spiders or whatever
heights
and stuff like that. I'm not like I've got a mild fear of heights. It's fine because I don't have to stand on something high.
You have to die at some point.
As you get closer, you're like, it's coming. Yeah. You can't escape it, and it gets worse. And it's like, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I didn't. I wish I was more carefree. Oh, sorry guys. This is probably like a therapy.
Oh my god, what has this turned into? Can everyone send their love and prayers to Luke, please? Because oh god,
Oh, don't worry about me, guys. I'm fine.
It sounds it.
I am genuinely. I'm fine. It's just
Just thinks about death every hour.
every day. No.
Oh, God. Right. Let's get back to the X-Files.
Just right, and then we talk about Mulder.
Yeah. So, we jump now to Martha's Vineyard again, and Mulder arrives. Mulder opens the door. He finally got it, Luke. He got the hug.
He did, yeah.
He got the hug.
He got the hug. But I didn't even realise.
Did you not? I jumped out of my seat at this. I was like, yes! He got the hug.
Got the hug, yeah. Oh, man, I didn't even recognise that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, before we got onto that massive tangent, Scully getting shot, do you think, was that a hint that X set this up? Do you think, or was that just a consequence?
I took it as the people that are trying to silence Mulder.
I got the feeling it wasn't X that was involved.
Because it was Mulder's apartment, wasn't it?
Yeah, but at the time I thought, oh, is he like sort of, I don't know, is he sort
I
of
think
turned
X
on
is
them?
gone. I think X, well, not gone, but I think he's done with Mulder for now. So I don't think he's in this.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about the notes I've got to write on this, on the bio. Sorry, guys.
Luke and Chex ponder death for much more time than they
For
needed
about
to.
15 minutes. Oh, anyway.
I don't know whether that's good content or not.
Yeah.
Should we apologise? I mean,
Yeah, bombing
it's
everybody.
depressing. It is depressing.
We just carry on, much like life.
So, yeah, they have the hug, and Mulder begins to tell Mulder that about choices he's made in his life, and how Mulder's on the cusp of learning the words that will come to make sense to him, such as the merchandise. He excuses himself to go to the bathroom, takes the medication out of the mirror, classic horror film trope, opens the mirror, takes the medication out, closes the mirror. It's only Lee Krychek.
He's there. He's right. He's had the longest hiatus that we've seen, and then just as soon as you see him, you're like, you know, there's a problem.
I can't believe I've not been asking where Krychek is this entire
I know,
time.
yeah.
Like, I just sort of settled with the fact that he's gone.
Yeah.
He's there. He's behind the shower curtain. Shoots him right in the head.
Mulder. I wrote that down.
Oh,
and
God.
that would be the perfect time.
Muldered.
Muldered.
Muldad's Muldered.
Mulder is Muldered. Was this
Before you get into it, I'll just quickly finish off this
finish
scene.
it off, yeah.
Mulder rushes in and Muldad asks for forgiveness as he dies in Mulder's arms.
Yeah. So there's a few questions I had about this. So was this like Muldad's crusade before Mulder's? Because Mulder once spoke about him picking up the habit of eating sunflower seeds from his dad, as like he said, it's sort of like a genetic thing. Was this like something that Muldad was like sort of invested in, and it sort of imprinted on his kid to basically get involved in this as well? This like hunt for truth, maybe.
I don't see it that way. I think Muldad was involved.
Yeah.
With the sort of what did you call them? A couple of is it the syndicate?
Syndicate, I think the name of it.
I think he's involved with that, and he's kept it hidden. And whether that increased Mulder's sort of curiosity, maybe I'm not sure. Maybe it had an effect, but I don't believe it was. I don't believe Muldad was trying to sort of unearth any secrets. I think he was involved in keeping them quiet, and this was his moment of trying to sort of repent for those actions.
That's the thing. It's hard to tell in this. I didn't know whether it was that or whether it was that because he mentioned that he was. I can't remember what he said his job was. It was something to do with I can't remember the exact name.
Yeah,
but he worked with the government as well, didn't he? So I wondered if he was sort of had that same attitude. But again, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Also, what's the merchandise? Is this some kind of like alien drug or something like that? Or
that's what Will sort of led to believe. I think what I believed all the way through this was the merchandise was the body.
Maybe
That's what I thought all the way through, and then we find out sort of later what it is. But later that night, a clearly distraught Mulder calls Scully. It's hard to watch this one.
Yeah.
I mean, Mulder was halfway through Lost at the time. He never found out what the island was. Actually, this is 1990. He wasn't. He
What would he
wasn't.
been watching in 1990? X-Files, I guess.
He never found out what the truth was.
Yeah. Very meta.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he is genuinely cut up about his dad. It is hard to watch in all the seriousness. Scully's got a logical head on. She tries to tell Mulder to leave. Mulder tells her he can't leave as it looks like he'll be running or he'll be guilty. Scully then tells him it's a setup anyway. It's all looking like it points to you after everything that you've done today.
Yeah.
Mulder's trying to rationalise it, says it wasn't his weapon, he'll be fine. And Scully says, well, you're an FBI agent, you've got access to any weapon you want. Yeah. Like, they are going to pin this on you, you need to get out of there. So, Scully tells him about the shooting and agrees to... Mulder tells her about what happened and the shootings, etc. And agrees to meet at Scully's apartment. Once he arrives, Scully begins trying to sort of look after Mulder, and Mulder's looking worse for wear at this point.
Absolutely fucked.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
It's more than grief though. It looks like he's got the flu almost.
Yeah, basically, yeah. She even comments that he just says you look sick.
Yeah, he's got a temperature. So Mulder just sort of collapses on the bed, and she says she needs rest, and he falls asleep almost instantly. The next morning, sexy Mulder's here.
Hot bod shot number 2.
Hot bod shot. Did Scully undress him?
That's the implication.
That is the implication, and that's the only question I want to know.
Yeah.
What do you think the etiquette is there?
I mean...
Would you undress me? If I was drunk, would you undress me for bed?
I'm pretty sure I have.
I think you have as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have at one point. Do you remember when you slept on my floor? Because you got stranded.
Couldn't get home.
Yeah, you got stranded. So I was like, just sleep on my floor. Gave you a blanket and a pillow.
Yeah, that was the sweetest thing you ever did.
It's good times.
Yeah,
I didn't think about death then, I'll tell you that much.
I think I would undress you if you was drunk and I was putting you to bed. I'd undress you, make sure you're comfy. I wouldn't do it to a friend that's a girl though.
Yeah, that's
it's crossing the line of, like, I know you're doing it with the best intentions, but it's crossing the line of being creepy, isn't it?
Yeah,
especially like maybe taking a jacket off or like taking the shoes off or something like that. That's different.
How close you are as friends. Like, if there's nothing at all there, then it's like, if it's just purely platonic friends, then they might not see anything in it. But yeah, I guess you could.
I don't think Scully's a purely platonic friend.
Well, yeah, I don't think so either.
So. We get a hot bod shot.
We do. This is number 2.
No, there's tons in this episode. He basically spends the entire episode topless.
True.
I wasn't complaining, by the way, but this is So he wakes up. He finds Scully's gone, and he also finds his gun has gone missing as well.
Did you notice here that the music was like a piano version of the X-Files theme?
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
There was like a ding ding, like I'm doing the X-Files theme there.
If
anyone doesn't know what it sounds like, but it was like a slow piano version of it. I was like, oh,
I didn't notice that.
Cool.
Now that is cool. I'll have to go back and listen to that.
It was like a nice like sort of change. Yeah, it's cool.
This is where we start really ramping it up, and we're just jumping here, there, and everywhere. We're at the FBI headquarters of the firearms unit. Scully's running tests on Mulder's gun to see if it matches with the gun used at the crime scene. And back to house, Mulder calls, and he's instantly suspicious of her intentions, why he took the gun, believes that she thinks he did it. Overly aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive.
Questioning whose side she's on. He does mention the reports again. You've been writing reports on me every time we go out. And he tells her, after everything you've asked of me, do not ask for my trust. So, interesting stuff. I really, now that you mentioned it, I'm really honing in on that sort of the cost of the truth.
Yeah.
I think that is a really good theme throughout this episode.
It's really straining, like, their, not even just being partners, it's like their friendship.
Yeah, their relationship.
Yeah.
Doesn't help that Mulder isn't himself right now, which we find out later.
Exactly, yeah.
Scully then goes to investigate the bullet at Mulder's apartment, and she notices unmarked workmen outside the building, and goes to investigate. And she discovers that the water supply to the entire building has been contaminated by an unknown substance. We see like a sort of a canister with like, it doesn't match the rest of the water.
Yeah, it's
and
separate to it, isn't it?
It's also got new fittings as well, separate. So, yeah, she notices that it looks like it's been contaminated. And meanwhile, Mulder arrives home in a cab. And on his way inside, as you can tell, again, really fast-paced. On his way inside, he notices someone in the shadows. So he sort of goes around the other side, tries to catch up with them. And you get this really cool shot of sort of Mulder behind the corner. And then what we see is Krycek sliding up to his corner. And they get into another fight. And they're fighting again.
Mulder, man, he's been practicing.
He has. Basically, he manages to overpower Krycek. It's a really cool fight scene. Really sort of hard-hitting and brutal. He does overpower Krycek, manages to turn his own gun on him, and he tells him, I'm going to kill you anyway, you might as well tell me the truth. Krycek stays silent. He hits him again, goes to pull the trigger, and Scully comes out, tells him to stop, I've got him, I can arrest him, put the gun down, Mulder. We see a really close-up shot of Mulder squeezing that trigger, he's about to kill him. We hear bang, gun goes off, and Scully shoots Mulder.
Yeah.
What a scene. I love this.
I'd put this point, what an episode. We've had Krycek returns, kills Mulder. Mulder punching out, or trying to,
and failing
at Skinner. And now we've got Scully shooting Mulder. There's so much going on. But yeah, I love the showdown between Mulder and Krycek because it's just, we've been waiting for this for ages.
Yeah,
ever since.
I didn't realise I needed a resolution until I got it, and I was like, that is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mulder drops, Krycek managed to escape, and we can hear someone in the background calling for the police.
So at this point, I just assumed that Scully had used like those less than lethal bullets, like a rubber bullet or something, to just knock him down. I just thought, oh no,
I got it. That I didn't think she'd had rubber bullets.
I thought she'd probably taken precautions, thinking that she might have to take Mulder out. No. No.
She just shot him. What a shot!
What a risk!
I know. Yeah. We find out that Mulder is actually okay. We're in a motel room, somewhere that we're not sure yet. And the grandfather from the intro calls for Scully as Mulder wakes up. And Scully explains that he'll be okay, the bullet went through clean. She explains that she shot him to stop him killing Krycek. I do love this because Mulder goes, but why did you shoot me and not Krycek?
There's a lot to ask there.
Yeah, she also explains that if she'd let him kill Krycek with Krycek's weapon, there would be no way of proving Mulder's innocence with his dad's murder as well. So he'd just set himself up. Yeah,
basically.
She doesn't tell Mulder about the contamination in his building, why he's been acting the way he has, and she says it consists of what she believes was a mixture of dopamines and LSD. That's not. I don't even know what that would be, but it doesn't sound good.
You see some shit.
Yes, you do. Imagine if everything that came before. Imagine if his dad's not dead.
What a twist.
Imagine if it's all in Mulder's mind.
That's some Shyamalan stuff going on right
there. I was trying to think like a Muldad, like redemption. I can't think of one. Back from them. No. Ignore me.
Back from the Mulder.
That's terrible. I bailed on it. You went for it.
It's okay. I kind of liked it. I got a kick out of that one.
Okay.
Mulder redemption.
So we'll continue. You can keep thinking if you want.
Return of the living Mulder.
No, stop, please. Oh dear, this is a lot of radio silence.
It's alright, we'll edit that out.
Yeah.
No, I've got nothing.
just what I feared. Right.
I can't think of anything else with dead in it, apart from zombie films, and it's like, I've done one.
You've done one, that's enough. That's enough. Mulder does have this realization as well, at this point, of the gunshots down the hallway, and that even though it was the water supply was contaminated because of him, other people have been hurt because of it.
Yeah.
And he realises that's because of the same contamination.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can tell that weighs heavy on him. Because he doesn't want to hurt anybody else.
No.
You know what I mean?
Apart from Skinner, yeah.
Sometimes he wants to hurt, but that's not his fault.
Yeah, he was. Imagine what he saw Skinner as, some kind of like demon or something like that. You've got to punch him out.
He just had the case of the mole dread. We need to stop.
Any more Mulder puns?
We're not even, the problem is, these are not Mulder puns, these are Muldad puns.
They morphed into Mulded and now Muldred.
Like, we're getting so far away from Mulder, it doesn't make sense anymore. It's just words with Mul in front of them. And so, yeah, basically the realisation is that this is all... Scully even says as much. She believes it's all because Mulder got too close to the truth.
Yeah, basically.
Which is what you've been saying all along. We find out that they have driven 2 days cross-country to New Mexico, and Scully then introduces Mulder to Albert Hosteen, the old man from the intro, who has been translating the files, and we found out he was a Navajo code talker. Talker or taker?
Talker.
I thought that didn't sound right then. During World War II. Albert claims he knew they were coming, as last week they had an omen. So Scully tells him that she can go no further. She didn't turn up to a meeting with Skinner, and her career's on the line now. So Mulder thanks her for taking care of him, and she goes on to tell him that her name has been seen in the files, along with Dwayne Barry's.
Yeah, that blew my mind that this is still being updated. I thought it was some old file.
An archived file, but no, this is up to date, because they've logged what happened to Scully and Dwayne Barry, and the only thing they can gather from that is that it had something to do with tests. I want to really know what's on this file.
I know, yeah, you better translate quick.
Yeah, we got to hope.
But then again, it seems like a language that's not easy to just translate from.
No, I think it's going to be like keywords and phrases. It was also at this point that I realised this isn't a one-parter.
Yeah.
There's no way they can tie up all these loose ends.
I saw this, like, as they were being taken away, as they were heading in the car to somewhere. I had a look at the timestamp and saw 8 minutes left, and I was like,
spot on. Well, the thing is, because we pause a lot to take notes, it comes up to the time every time, and I'm just like, there's no way. And if they manage to tie up all the loose ends here, it's going to be awful.
Yeah, just an alien jumps out of the carriage or something. They rushed this one.
Yeah, so I knew going into this. I did have a look, and apparently it's a 3-parter.
Yeah, it is. So that's what I saw as well.
The first 2 episodes of the next season, so that should be fun. Anyway, Albert's taking Mulder to meet his grandson, and on the way, he tells Mulder that an ancient tribe lived there long ago named the Anasazi.
I'll just do that every episode now. As soon as
you
we get
do love when the name of an episode turns up. Do you like it in films when it happens?
Yeah. It's even better in a film because you know that they've really tried. In a TV show, they can get away with it. In a film, they're really hammering.
Yeah.
Like you said with Avengers, when he says Endgame, and then when you saw the title,
we talked about this, didn't we? Yeah.
When you saw the title of the one, See what I was saying there?
That's the best noise. It's the only noise you can make in that situation. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. It's just that acceptance of it's when you know you're watching a film or you're watching TV. Yeah. You're like,
takes you completely out.
Takes you out, but I like that they do it. You know, and they ground you back in the real world. You go, okay, this is an experience.
Like, if I was making films, like I would get so much more campy with it.
Yeah.
So
what's like a film that you don't think they could do that with?
I was thinking sort of the opposite, because I was thinking films that have that word in them, but it's just a normal word. So I was immediately came to mind The Negotiator.
Yeah.
Right? Negotiator's going to be in that film because they talk about it all the time, and it's not necessarily a nod to the title. But if it was me directing it, I would be like Samuel L. Jackson comes through the door and he's like, somebody get me, stare straight to camera left. Yeah, The Negotiator.
That's exactly what I thought as well. So you just stare right into the camera. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really, really serious film.
Saving Private Ryan.
No, sort of on those lines. I was going to say, and he was finally on Schindler's List.
We could go through the top 5 IMDb.
It's another sad film or a really serious film.
Another serious
What's
film.
that one where Will Smith kills himself to save people?
I don't know. Don't remember that one.
I better not say what it is now.
You just spoiled it for me.
Yeah. Men in Black. Don't know. I'm just trying to think of a really serious film now.
Well, you've got Shawshank Redemption.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
As he escapes, crawls out the tunnel, and it was finally his Shawshank Redemption.
is great. It improves every film.
That was my Morgan Freeman impression there. Not very good.
That was actually good. I liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do they say the Green Mile and the Green Mile?
I don't.
I think they call it the Green Mile, don't they?
Yeah.
But again, camp it up a little
Tom
bit.
Hanks just you take a step down, Green Mile.
I love it because you never do impressions, and now we're getting all of them.
I'm pretty sure Tom Hanks does not sound like that in that film, but I just went some kind of American Southern accent I needed there.
The problem you have is when you've got names like you've got films like Forrest Gump, where it's a name. What can you do with that? I suppose you could still do the look down the camera.
Yeah, just say it.
My name's
Forrest Gump. Sorry,
a little wink and then a smile. Ding.
Yeah. To be fair, that Forrest Gump has enough nods to down the camera lens.
It certainly does.
When he's dancing with Elvis, it's like, hang on a bit.
Did you see? Did you see that story that came out a while ago? Again, was really sidetracking. Sorry, everybody.
Right at the end.
I know. Yeah, the story came out a while ago about the Forrest Gump sequel that never was.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, because you told me about it, and then I read something about it the other day.
You know what? We've talked about this on the podcast. We have just repeated everything. We've definitely talked about this on the podcast.
Sort of in a loop.
Let's carry on.
Guys.
Sorry, guys.
Expect this content for 4 more years.
You think it's repetitive now?
Wait until we're older. More forgetful.
You went 2023. Yeah. let's everyone's given up on the podcast, right? Yeah. Let's go. You know what? It's the final season. Let's give it one more chance.
We'll go.
So they listen to episode 709. And they go to search on it. It's you going, walk down the Green Mile.
They're still at it. They're still at it. Jesus.
They can't stop. Right, come on.
We should make a list of jokes that we make.
And then cross them off.
Yeah. To try and not go back on ourselves.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Come on, we're almost at the end. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ancient tribe that lived there was called Anasazi, and that means ancient alien.
Yeah, I think that's what they say it translates to. Yeah.
And basically, he says there's no evidence of their fates. No evidence of their fate exists, so no one knows what happened to them.
They just sort of disappeared, is what they sort of imply.
Exactly. Without a trace, is what they say. And he believes they were abducted. And it basically says nothing disappears without a trace.
Yeah.
And he believes they were abducted by visitors who come here still.
That line, that nothing disappears without a trace, didn't somebody else say that earlier? Or wasn't it Cigarette Smoker?
No, Cigarette Smoker Man says it later.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
He says it later in one of the next scenes.
Yeah.
This is very interesting, though, if you look back on it, because I've only just realised this as I'm reading my notes through. Read this through, and what did you think at the time? He's talking about a tribe that was abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
Read it back now, knowing what you know. It's about the government. He's saying abducted, and we immediately assume aliens, but he doesn't believe anyone disappeared without a trace. He believes they were abducted by visitors who still come here. He's talking about the government.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, neither did I until I just read it through.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't think that there's aliens. He knows what's under there, because he's, you know what I mean?
That's a good point, actually. I didn't even think about that.
And the way he talks about all of this, all the way through, he's talking, and we're putting that assumption that it's an alien on there, but no one said that. He's talking about the government.
God, I didn't even think about that.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I did like with this part, before we just go into it, the location of them heading down there. I love that it's red.
Yeah.
Like Mars, this kind of alien looking landscape. It's so good for the setting of this.
Yeah, definitely agree. That the whole sort of background it just adds to the tension. Mulder meets Albert's grandson, and they both travel on his dirt bike up the mountain. They find the burial sites from the beginning and investigate further. And as Mulder sort of opens up the hatch, he does. This is before that. Mulder gets a call from Cigarette Smoking Man, asking where he is. Mulder's so naive here to stay on the phone.
Yeah, I would hang up straight away.
You did just have your phone at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets a phone call, and Cigarette Smoking Man asks him where he is. He tells him that he needs to explain a few things, and that his father approved of their project. Mulder doesn't want to hear this, and basically says that Cigarette Smoking Man, you ordered. Look, he doesn't call it. He calls him Black Lung, actually, doesn't he?
He calls him a black-lunged son of a bitch.
Yeah. But he does say that you ordered the murder of my father, so he's not interested in what you've got to say. But let's just put it there: Cigarette Smoke Man does deny this claim, says that wasn't us.
Yeah. Again, is this these two?
Well, he doesn't say he wasn't murdered. You know what I mean? He doesn't deny, and he just said it wasn't us.
I maybe I'm being naive, taking him at face value here, and I thought maybe this is the two factions working against one another. Maybe that one faction that we've sort of spoke about before did do the hit, basically. But again, this could be we know Cigarette Smoking Man is untrustworthy, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. We don't know at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hangs up, and then we see Cigarette Smoking Man talk to one of his advisors, who say, "We've got his location. We know exactly where he is. Let's go." And they get into the helicopter and fly off.
He does a run up to there. I just thought he's the action cigarette smoking man.
Yeah, that's his moment in the sun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while it's happening, Mulder investigates the capsule and notices a sign with the words Sierra Pacific Railroad on it. So it is a boxcar. The grandson opens the hatch to reveal the inside, and Mulder climbs in and he calls Scully while he does it.
Yeah.
And he tells her that he's where he never expected. He's in a boxcar buried inside a quarry, and he's found a pile of corpses in the boxcar. All those little alien creatures. There's just a massive pile up to the roof.
Yeah.
Scully then informs Mulder she's found references in the file of some experiments on humans referred to as merchandise. Mulder tells Scully that these bodies aren't humans and look like aliens.
At this point, I thought, is this these... We've mentioned it before about alien-human hybrids. Is this like sort of that experiment gone wrong or something like that? Or
you know what? I think for me, the way I read this was, this episode has got nothing to do with aliens. The way I read this was, the government have kidnapped tribes of sort of Native Americans, isolated tribes that technically, air quotes, wouldn't be missed, and just ran through tons of experiments with them.
True.
And it's just human experimentation. That's what I read it as, because if you look, there's no actual sign of humans, apart from these bodies, but for all we know, they're just deformed, because we can see that they are vaccinated.
Yeah, they've got smallpox marks on them, haven't they? Or what Daddy says looks like a smallpox.
Yeah, which, I mean, is if it more proof that if you need it, do not get vaccinated. It's dangerous. Dangerous out there, people.
This is an April Fool's. Too late for that one. I like how anytime something like this happens, it's always attributed to the Nazis, because they mention it's Nazi scientists, and it's like, but bloody hell, why do they keep getting involved?
But you know what? I think it's maybe not the one time, but the closest time in our history that something like that took place.
Yeah.
Or at least to our knowledge.
Yeah.
And even if you go back further, it's like to the scale the Nazis did it. It's the only real reference point that we can use.
It's the easiest, sort of ultimate baddie you can put in that would just do horrendous things, and you can just say, well, they've got no morals about it, basically.
Yeah.
It's an easy sort of villain.
So yeah, anyway, Mulder notices a smallpox vaccination mark on their arms. I think the implication there is they are human and they're sort of transformed or altered.
That's where I think, they've been hybridized, I guess, or something
it's
like
possible.
That. It could between the DNA, because that's sort of what happened with Scully. Is she had this DNA
we don't know whether it was that, do we? It was never confirmed. So it could be. We don't know, but we don't find out because the door of the boxcar is suddenly closed by the grandson, and the helicopter arrives very quickly. They storm out of the helicopter. They storm into the boxcar while Cigarette Smoking Man's asking the boy where he is. The boy stays quiet, and the soldiers come back up and say, he's not here.
Yeah.
Mulder's gone. Where did he have to go? There's nowhere to go.
I was going to say, where has he gone?
The only thing I could think of was he hid in the bodies. Right?
Probably, yeah.
But the soldiers say, well, he disappeared without a trace.
Yeah.
And this is where the Cigarette Smoking Man says, no one disappears without a trace. Yeah. Torture. And they blow this boxcar up. They set explosives.
Yeah.
And as they ride off into the distance in their helicopter, they blow the boxcar up, killing Mulder.
Yeah.
Mulder is now dead.
Yeah.
Muldered.
Yeah. The final Muldered.
The final Muldered.
Yeah. And it's been a good series. I've enjoyed
the X-Files as a whole, that was great. Yeah. What are we going to review next? Should we shall we go for Twin Peaks?
Yeah, could do. I might be a bit heartbroken though to see Mole dead again. Mole dead again.
Quite a shocking ending, really. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where it's a classic sort of. It feels like a classic action ending, action show ending, where it's like, how will he get out of this one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can almost hear a voiceover at the end.
Again, it sort of ruins it in hindsight with us because obviously we're God knows how many decades removed from this series. We know there's a series 3, and we're pretty sure.
Well, I've definitely seen older Mulder and Scully scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
What if he's a clone?
Oh yeah, I suppose
There's
that'd be a great storyline. I'd love to see clones.
Mulder clone. Yeah. Well, we've had a clone Samantha, so it's not out of the realms of possibility. But anyway, I don't think it's that this early on.
No.
I feel like if there's ever going to be a deaf clone
it's
story,
probably going to be a hatch in the back of the boxcar, isn't it?
Yeah. Always climbed into it. Maybe there's another boxcar. And
Yeah, exactly. And he's climbed all the way down. But if that's the case, those soldiers just need to be absolutely sacked.
I was going to say, that's not due diligence, is it?
No.
That's terrible.
But all in all, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was really good. I really liked that there was a lot more questions being asked. We've mentioned this before, where I like how it's confident enough to just sort of throw these sort of mysteries at you. I would have liked a few more answers if I'm completely honest, but I do like that we had a lot more like questions coming out of it. I didn't think it was as strong as the season 1 finale, but I think that's partly due to the fact that it's not a just one episode story.
Yeah.
So there's still more to go on. So really, we can't give a conclusive, like, sort of, was this great until, well, season 3, episode 2.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really good. I like that we got more of the mythology right at the end. So, yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. And some more really good character interaction between Mulder and Scully and Skinner in this episode. So, yeah.
Completely agree. I mean, to be fair, literally my notes say the exact same thing as what you've said. I think the only thing I can really add is, as much as I enjoyed this episode, I find it difficult to judge it on its own because we don't know what the rest of the story is going to be. So but on the other hand, I think you can judge it on how much it's intrigued me to watch the other two. And I am fully intrigued. I want to see what happens. Yeah. So in that instance, it's done its job.
Even if we weren't doing the podcast for it, I'd definitely watch the next 2
episodes. Exactly, of course you would. Yeah. So, really looking forward to it. And, I mean, I know we won't mention the season as a whole because we've got an episode coming out next week about the overall season review. But yeah, this episode, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So now, Luke, if you'd be so kind, let's get to...
Luke's production notes.
Series creator Chris Carter noted that the episode's creation was the culmination of a lot of ideas. Generally, when we pitch stories to the staff, everyone comments on them, and Darren Morgan called this the kitchen sink episode because it had so much in it. I mean, everyone knows that saying, didn't they?
The kitchen sink? Yeah. You throw the kitchen sink at it.
He didn't know how we would pull it off, but I'm very proud of the script. David Duchovny and I worked closely on the story, and he had a lot of... This isn't me talking about it. I'm pretty sure this is a quotation from Chris Carter. David Duchovny and I worked quite closely on the story, and he had a lot of input. And then I sat down and wrote the script. He felt that the episode ended the season in the best manner possible, asking more questions than it answered.
Yeah, I agree, and it's always good to end on a cliffhanger.
Exactly,
yeah, it's fair enough. And to be fair, that's probably why they made it into a 3-parter, because if they're throwing everything at it, you don't want to rush it.
The episode tried to make similar cliffhangers as the previous season finale, with revelations such as Mulder's father, Muldad, get it right, being part of the conspiracy and later killed to prove that anything could happen in the X-Files.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well.
Yeah, because I didn't see his death coming To be honest, that we probably didn't speak about that as much, but that was quite a shocking death in the program. I thought.
I think we've spoken about death more than
Probably
enough.
more than enough. Yeah, definitely today. To create the New Mexico. Wow, I've not read this, but I've just sort of seen what's coming up. This is mental. To create the New Mexico rock quarry in this episode, the producers painted a disused quarry in Vancouver with 1,600 US gallons of red paint, and also composited images shot in New Mexico and a blue sky to make it look more authentic.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I thought they would have just found some red rocks.
Yeah, fair play.
That's crazy.
That's interesting, yeah.
I love production and stuff like this because you just realise that how
The
much
work that goes into it.
Yeah, it's crazy. The painting of the quarry was achieved with a series of cranes and required the permission of local environmental groups. When early seasons of the show were re-released in 16:9 widescreen for home video and streaming services in 2016, this practical effect became noticeable as sections of grey unpainted quarry were visible at the edges of the frame, which would not have been viewable in 4:3 televisions at the time of the original
Fantastic.
broadcast.
I love it.
It is funny, isn't it, how technology can sometimes screw an effect that seems to work perfectly then. To create the impression of a buried train carriage, a depression had to be blown into the ground and 32 dump trucks worth of debris removed. Series creator Chris Carter made a cameo appearance in this episode as one of the senior FBI agents questioning Scully.
Wow.
I didn't even pick up on that, and I've seen a picture of him. Didn't even notice.
No, I didn't either.
Oh, well, there we go.
Interesting.
And also, as we mentioned at the beginning, the tagline for this episode is, was it L? How did I say it?
I've got rid of my notes now. So
it basically it says it is Anago Ahute.
Yeah.
I think is that what we said, which means the truth is out there.
yeah, we guessed that, didn't we? So
that's it this week.
Very interesting stuff. So how about we get to a little bit of feedback before we head off? This episode seems a bit long because of our constant death talk.
Death. This is the death episode.
The finale of the season. We've talked about death for half of it. I mean,
sorry guys.
never mind. It's part of the. It's what we do. It's what we do.
Yeah. Derail.
We derail it. Yeah. So we had a lot of just again whilst we're here, we had a lot of feedback saying from people saying that they prefer once a week, or to be fair, we had a lot of people saying whatever rate we want to put it out.
Yeah.
So that's fair. That's lovely to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're happy to do it any which way. To be honest,
it's nice to know that if I don't know, life gets in the way or something like that, that we're not sort of holding ourselves to account.
Yeah.
We need to get it out this week.
Of course.
People will understand.
Well, we've thought about this anyway with the gap in between the seasons because I think we mentioned last episode that you're currently in the process of moving house. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows how much time that can take out of, especially when you've got to decorate and God knows what else.
I feel like this fell at the perfect time.
Yeah, well, we've got a nice little break now, so we can concentrate on our lives, and then we'll get back when we get back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, we did have a mess. I'm just going to go through, unless you want to read some of that.
No, I'd carry on.
So yeah, we did have a message from Kathy saying she did send us a picture because we mentioned the Mulder doll and the accessories.
Oh, yes, the action
we wanted to know
figures,
whether the sunglasses was an accessory, and she owns one of these action figures.
I was very interested to see this as well and see the accessories.
Well, it has accessories.
It does, yeah.
Has multiple hands.
Yeah.
Has so you can have him pointing, him with a clenched fist. It has an FBI badge, a watch, a gun. It has a torch. It even has a gun holster. A lot of accessories, no sunglasses though.
No sunglasses, which is disappointing. It's got to be said.
Those figures look great.
Yeah.
Like they look spot on. They really do.
Especially the face. It does actually look very simple. Sorry, I'm showing a picture here. So
it looks really good.
If you go on our Twitter, you'll see. I think I did respond to Kathy on that about the multiple amount of hands. So yeah, have a look on there and just have a look at the detail that you get in the face, because it is quite impressive, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've had She also got in touch with us with regards to Soft Lights as well. Just a mini review. She said, I've such a fondness for Soft Light, maybe because of Tony Shalhoub, who played the antagonist.
Yeah.
Or maybe because of Vince Gilligan. She said, our response is very valid, but I can't help but love this one, even just for the little flirty "we'll talk later" from Mulder to Scully, which was in the episode. And a few people got in touch with us about that, basically saying it's one of their favourite moments of the X-Files, or at least up to this point.
I feel like we're tapping into a portion of our fandom that we've not tapped into yet. Well, I
think we're part of that fandom, because I mean, we both sort of pick up on these little moments between Mulder and Scully, but especially because a lot of the people who listen to this show have seen what's coming. Yeah. So I think they can appreciate moments like this a bit more, because we, at this point, I'm assuming they do, but we don't know whether they get together. Yeah. If they do get together, this could be quite a pivotal moment in getting to there. Yeah. So we don't have a full appreciation of it, do you know what I mean?
Or maybe a later episode references this.
Yeah, exactly. Like but we did mention that. So we've got here... at Grunge Kid 84 that said that "We'll Talk Later" is one of my favourite moments. Scully talks about him to everyone she knows, it seems. It was great.
I love that Twitter handle, by the way.
It's a great Twitter handle. It reminds me of Jem, my fiance's email address, which references a band.
I thought you were going to say it then. I was like, no, that's crazy.
I'm not just going to put her email address out there, but it references Slipknot, which is her favourite band. When she was like 13. I mean, I think she still likes some of their songs now. I've never really got into them myself, but it always makes me laugh because she just sticks to it to this day, and like she can be talking about anything, and she's like, I don't know, like it's not really her now. It doesn't seem like her now, does it?
What was your first email address?
I've had the same email address.
Oh, really?
Since I was
sensible.
Yeah, I was 11, I think, and that is it was my. I can say it makes no difference to me. Yeah. It was Checkers 190, and that was always going to be that was my handle on
everything pretty much.
Yeah, PS4
I think
and stuff
handle
like that.
As well, isn't it?
It's my Twitter handle. Yeah. It's just always been my handle, Checkers 190. And you know what? Do you want to know where that originated from? When I was a kid, I got this this gift from my nan. And it was a picture. It was one of those pictures of the England squad and the shirts on the back of the on the locker room. Yeah. Right? And it had everyone's names: Rooney 9, Owen 10, all that. Lampard 8, Gerrard 4, and in the middle it had number 19. But it was blanked, and you could put your own name on there with it provided little stickers, so you could be part of that locker room.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
So I always chose 19 whenever I was doing, because that was my number, but Checkers 19 was taken. So I had to go for Checkers 190.
Stick a 0 on the end, yeah.
So yeah, an interesting little anecdote there. I thought it was anyway.
I don't like how you had a sensible email from the beginning.
Yeah, what was your email address?
My very first email address was Agent Acid Snake at AOL.com.
You still use it to this day?
Still to the day. No, I think I went through a span of making new emails, and I always had something ridiculous as it was referencing something like cartoons or something like that.
You've got a habit of doing that, though. I remember going through our yearbook from school.
Oh God, yeah.
I got to my page, and it was just a nice bog standard message, my picture there, and it was had a great time with friends, and I referenced a few people. I remember doing this, I remember doing that. Good luck to everyone in the future. And I got to Luke's, and Luke's was a quote from the game Portal, which was, and I quote, "The cake is a lie," and that was his.
I'm really fucking embarrassed.
that was your message to everyone leaving.
I was a loser in school.
But you've done that all your life. Yeah. You just reference things, and then in 2 years, when it's no longer relevant, you regret it.
Yeah. I've grown up a lot more now. Now everything is just my name. I made a historic change in my life. Not buying a house, that was second fiddle. To changing my PlayStation username to just my name now.
Yeah.
Just
what was it before?
Dagon's Razor.
Oh God.
I've always just thought,
It's cool at the time.
I just come up with something and forget that might just stick. So now everything is just my name. I'm quite sensible.
Nice.
Some might say boring, but
long story short, Grunge Kid. What?
We went on a tangent.
Yeah, I forgot the name. Grunge Kid 84 is a great username.
Cool name. Yeah.
Stick to that one, I would say.
Yeah,
that's not going out of fashion.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's all. That's the feedback we've got time for this week. Like I said, next week we'll be looking at the season review. So just our thoughts. It's just short episodes for the post season specials, and it's just our thoughts on the season overall and what we thought when we're looking at all 25 episodes.
Yeah, and we are planning to do the rest of them as you mentioned. So yeah, we do the season recap. I think then it's top episodes and predictions.
I can't remember which order it goes in yet, but it's predictions. So we look at our past predictions and see how many of them came off, and what predictions we have for the next season. And we also look at our top 5. We chose our top 5 episodes from season 1. I don't think we're going to choose top 5 from season 2. I think what we're going to do is have a look at them and see whether any of these new episodes we've watched in season 2 break into that top 5 and where they place. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
But for now, thank you for sticking with us for season 2, and I look forward to seeing everyone in season 3. Why are you smiling?
Sorry, I'm just thinking, this is not going to make it in. This episode is just, what? This is the finale we spoke about. The inevitability of death. Bad puns on Mulder. Oh, geez. We got an extended period where I'm just going...
We're really hitting our stride.